Good afternoon, everyone. Mario Quintero here with the One Stop Shop, produced by marioshomenews.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day and looking forward to a fantastic weekend. Today, I'm going to speak to you about the three main skills that a realtor or a mortgage consultant should possess. These three skills are the key elements of you having an easy, successful transaction. And it's very important that whoever you're working with possesses these skills. And these skills become more important as time goes on, because when you get involved in a difficult transaction, and these skills are developed over time. So they're not skills that you are born with. These are skills that are learned as a result of working many transactions over the years, and they just get better and better as time goes on. So let's go ahead and talk about the three skills. The first thing that we do as a realtor or mortgage consultant is we educate the client. We educate the client based on the type of transaction that we are heading into, and we educate the client throughout the process of the transaction. And we want to make sure that from the very beginning, there's an open line of communication where the client feels very comfortable asking questions so that we can properly educate them each step of the way. So education is skill number one. Number two is the ability to explain situations that arise during the transaction. So every transaction goes through different stages, the beginning, the middle, and the end. And each stage of the transaction requires an explanation. And this is one of the ways that I've learned that I can keep our clients feeling serene, even though we might be treading some difficult waters, as long as the client understands what is going on at the present time and we are anticipating what's coming down the road. Most clients are pretty good with that. The problem comes in when they don't get an explanation, the lines of communications are cut off, and they're in limbo. They feel like they're in limbo. That is not good. So we try to stay one step ahead of the game by keeping the client as informed as we can. And we do that to minimize them having to call us. We're the ones taking a proactive approach in calling them so that they don't feel uneasy. Anticipation of those explanations is also very important. So, when you've gone through a lot of different transactions, you kind of have an eye or a feel for anticipating what's coming next and discussing those possible things that can happen or anticipation is also very important to the explanation process. The last thing is problem solving or negotiating. That is a very important skill that we need to possess as a realtor or as a mortgage broker, because that is where the rubber meets the road. We are negotiating on behalf of our clients, and they are putting their trust in us to be able to effectively negotiate anything that comes up, especially the 88 turbulences that I talk about in a lot of different videos that I've done in the past. These are things that are going to come up, and turbulence in a transaction is going to occur. I don't care how easy we think the transaction is going to be from the beginning, what turns, what unanticipated things that come up. My job as a realtor and a mortgage consultant is to be able to meet those problems head on, solve them for our clients, and in the end, negotiate a positive outcome for our clients. So those are the three main skills. We educate, we explain, we problem solve, and we negotiate on behalf of our clients. I'll give you three recent situations that I've been involved in, which necessitated different things to occur. One of them is we're working with a condo buyer who's buying a second home, And they found out during the process, before we even paid an offer, that the condo was getting ready to vote on some assessments and renovations of the amenities in the building. And this will make a big difference whether they decide to place an offer or not, because they're looking at the possibility of the amenities shutting down, primarily the pool, and diverting the access to the beach for basically a year. And nobody has been told anything. No notices have been filed by the property manager. So when we discussed this a couple of days ago, I told them, listen, let's hold off placing the offer. Let's find out when the board meeting is going to take place. You need to attend that board meeting to find out exactly what the details are. And then once you learn how much the assessment is going to be, then you can make a decision on whether you want to place an offer. And if you don't want to place an offer, and just move on and not worry about this. And if we do place an offer, maybe we have to write something in the offer regarding the assessments that are going to be levied on the property and who's going to pay for that. So this is where educating and explaining came in with this particular client, and they've agreed. They're going to go to the board meeting next week. They're going to find out all the details, and then they'll make a decision. So I have another client that recently closed on a reverse mortgage, and whether it's a reverse mortgage or any type of mortgage, when they record the mortgage in the county records, those lists of mortgage recordings are sold to the general public, and they're sold to different service providers. So I usually let the client know to anticipate getting a lot of marketing materials, direct mail pieces in the mail, and that's exactly what's happened. This client called me today. She wanted to know about this letter and that letter, and I told her, listen, just throw all of that away. You don't need any of that. That's what I had referenced through originally. She's getting letters to buy mortgage insurance. She's getting letters to buy death insurance. She's getting home warranty letters. She don't need any of this stuff. So once again, educating and explaining to the client is key in this situation. The last one is a client that came and sat down and chat with me today, and we met for the first time, and he seemed a little bit edgy about how his life is structured and his investment properties. This is a client that owns 7 paid for in full investment properties in addition to his principal residence. And so when he got finished explaining to me his current situation, I asked him, I said, do you maintain your properties under corporate names? He said, no, I have everything under my personal name with my wife. I said, okay. I said, number 2, do you have a trust and estate planning documents? He said, no, I don't have a will, I don't have a trust, I don't have anything. I said to him, listen, you're very highly exposed. You're putting everything you worked for at high risk, and I'm going to recommend 2 things. I'm going to recommend you go back to your CPA and discuss with your CPA, who you've known for a long time, whether it would be best to transfer the title of all 8 properties into corporations so that you protect each one from the next. I said the second thing you need to do is you need to talk to an estate planning attorney, and I gave him the name of someone that I have a lot of respect for and I've used in the past. And I said, you need to speak to this attorney about the trust, about holding the properties in a corporate name, and you need to get this done, because you get into a car accident and you get one of these hungry, angry, lawyers that's looking to sue everything you own, you're going to end up having a problem, because you have a lot of things that are exposed to personal ownership under your name. I said, if you have one of your tenants in one of those investment properties that falls down their stairs and breaks their neck, and all of a sudden, unfortunately, they become a paraplegic, you might have just found yourself a partner in your properties. So That's another way of educating and explaining clients. And again, that comes a lot with experience, which we do have. And if you feel that you have any questions regarding any of these topics that I discussed today, feel free to give me a call here at the office, 305-598-1600, or on my cell phone, 305-588-0451. I hope you enjoyed this information today, and feel free to share this video with your friends and family. You never know who you might be helping out. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me here today, and we'll be back in touch next week. Thank you.